in the refrigerator.
The babies come back. The best answer is to cut it up and freeze it. That's how.
No, that's not the best answer.
Yes, it is.
That's the best answer for you. But that's not the critically thinking answer.
That's a critical thinking answer.
Cut it up, huh?
Yes, I'm trying to solve the issue.
And then, so how would you put the elephant in after you cut up the giraffe?
An elephant cut up and the giraffe cut up will not fit into a refrigerator. I mean, it depends. I mean, if it's like a refrigerator that's like at a restaurant, a walk-in freezer, I could see.
Keep thinking critically. No. You see, you thinking now. Okay, is it a small refrigerator? Is it a big refrigerator? Is it a huge refrigerator? That's what it is. It's a refrigerator. It could be a huge one. All I would tell you is that, how do you put a giraffe into a refrigerator?
Where did you get? Does this come straight out of your mind, or is this something you?
No, this is something that was done. This is a critical thinking project.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you ever heard of Forrest Whitaker?
Yes, I have. You ain't tell me about him being profiled at a store and.
No. He provides an opinion on why black people should tell their own stories.
Of course. He's a cool guy.
He's a cool guy? Let's listen to what he had to say. What else do you want to go before we go to that?
Well, I think we need to, there's a number of things we should talk about, but you can play that because I need some water. But, I mean, this whole idea, what did you think about let's go to Paris first. What did you think about that story? About the guy, or these guys coming in, shooting up,
It's sad. But you know what's even worse, though? It's worse when a tragedy happens and we have to compare another tragedy.
That's true.
To show why the media is unfair.
Well, I mean, there's a number of things. I mean, about this. It's just our discussion can go a number of ways. I mean, what's your feeling about the freedom of speech? Should someone be able to slander? I mean, him.
They didn't slander. I don't think they
but I mean, the Muslims don't like anybody messing with Muhammad.
Right.
They don't want you to have an image of Muhammad.
But who makes that decision?
Who
makes the decision that you can't do that? Who makes that decision?
No, that's the law of Islam. You can't have pictures of Muhammad.
But who makes that decision? Does those individuals make the decision that newspaper can't do that? And being that, I may not be an imam, but we, acting on our own free will, decides that you can't do that, so we're going to kill you. Who makes that decision that they can't do that?
Well, I mean, this is the question. Now, here you have an issue of hate speech. And hate speech.
Let's stick with the Charlie
No, because it's all about that. Hate speech and fighting words. You're not supposed to say things that can cause harm. And when you say things that can cause harm, like yelling fire, all speech is not free. So,
all speech is free.
No, all speech is not free, even under this Constitution. So,
all speech is free.
All speech is not free.
Based on the law, all speech is free. What's freedom of speech? Wait. You can't have freedom of speech and then saying that some speech is not free. You can't have freedom unless you have freedom of speech in certain situations.
Yes, this is my point to you, is that it's situational. So, yes.
So then it's freedom of speech with caveats.
Yes, but it's also, I mean, some of it is illegal to say things.
Like, for example?
One thing we're not practicing right now is allowing me to finish my sentence.
Go ahead. Okay, go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
So, what was the name of the Supreme Court case that said that you can, it's Schenck. That's what it is. So you can look that up. It looks like Schneck. SCHNECK.
SCHNECK?
Yes. So here is a Supreme Court case that went against the idea of what free speech really is, and in many ways sort of limited what a person can say. And I'm sure you've heard the saying, a person can't yell fire in a theater, right?
Mm-hmm.
Schneck
Mm-hmm.
versus United
Snack
States.
versus United States.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, there are limits to what people can say. So when we talk about free speech in a class,
So
when we talk about free speech in a government class, the question is, are there things you cannot say? And there are things that are called fighting words that, if uttered, would naturally provoke a response.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people say, yes, we believe in freedom of speech, and that's a fighting word for you to deface or have a picture of a Muhammad or a picture of Muhammad naked or just an image of Muhammad, because Muslims do not have an image of Muhammad. They refuse to allow that to happen. So to say that everybody should have free speech, I mean, that's a joke, and to try to push that way. What does it say? Sir, do not submit, but advise only please. Schenck was charged with conspiracy to violate the Espionage Act. Are his actions, words, expression protected by free speech? The character of every act depends on the circumstance. The question in every case is whether the words are used in such circumstances and are of such a nature as to create a clear and present danger, and that they will bring about substantive evils that the Congress has a right to prevent. So even during a war, there's certain things you cannot say. And to say that we believe not freedom of speech, it's conditional. It's conditional. And there are things that you and I know not to say, because if we say them, there will be consequences to that. And so I don't understand why anybody would defend. I mean, it's a question. Why would we defend this magazine's right to defame a religious person when they know it's going to insult
They're not
other
defaming
people?
a religious person. They're not defaming anyone. As a matter of fact, it's been said that some people don't even know what Muhammad looked like, right?
Yes, because it's illegal. It's not like Muhammad is not like Jesus. You cannot have an image of Muhammad. No Muslim has an image of Muhammad. Even when holy scriptures, be that the Hadith, the Quran, or anybody tries to make a depiction of Muhammad, they will have a box or fire or something above his face. And so for them to make a picture and act as if that's Muhammad, that's insult number one. Muslims do not have icons. The only thing that they'll have, are geometric shapes and patterns. They don't believe in pictures and pictures of people. That is just not something that they do. And so it is defacing them. It's like if somebody, defaced Jesus to a Christian, people would be outraged. So you're just sort of like inviting bad things to happen to you. But meanwhile, if you were to say something that could be deemed anti-Christian or anti-Semitic, they would come after you. Someone else would come after you. The Klan you can't burn crosses. Somebody says that's free speech, but it's meant to be intimidating. So it's illegal to burn a cross in front of somebody's house. It's not illegal to write what you want to write in some cases, but there's a such thing as hate speech. And I don't know. So at any rate, meanwhile, you do have another incident. The 2,000 people die in Nigeria, and we don't even get to hear about it. In fact, even like earlier this month, or last month, I should say, before Christmas break, when these people some other group stormed into a school in Pakistan and shot children and their teachers in front of them. This was nothing also on the international news or on the national news to the extent that the Parisians were. So it's more important. It seems that some lives are more important than others. Where the journalists for Al Jazeera that are being locked up, I believe, in Egypt.
Now, hold on. Let's look at just a minute. I'm trying to get up for you
Free speech is really a debatable topic of discussion as to whether a person or any group should be able to say whatever they would like to say.
Mm-hmm. So you saying that a person should be able to say whatever they like?
No, I don't. I think there should be limits to what people say. I don't, because it provokes them, and it's discouraging and disparaging. You should not be able to say whatever you want to say. And so now they print out this newspaper, satirical magazine, prints 3 million copies, and they're sold out in a second.
Mm-hmm. That's capitalism, right?
Well, it's more than capital. I mean, I think that you're asking for something.
But why can't they do it? It's in France they allow for that. They allow for that in France.
Well, so what would happen? But at the same time, you see now that they're doing checks on people who speak out against those who do that. So now you're being monitored and watched. So you have limited free speech. So maybe the people with the money or who own the media have the right to say certain things. But the individual on his phone or in his Facebook post or a tweet or whatever, all of that's being monitored by the governments and what you say, right? You can't say, anything disparaging about police on your Facebook page because the government, as you know, is tracking you. So if you say a person should be able to say whatever they want to say, is everybody allowed that right? And should everybody be allowed that right? Would I want to hear, some racist stuff in my, which we do every day anyway, in my face every day? I mean, it's an insult. And if it's against my religion for me to do that, why is it okay for you to do that to me or against me?
Keep talking. I'm getting you. I'm getting this. I'm getting the cartoon, the actual cartoon with translation in English. The Charlie Hebdo. Yeah. So.
Well, while you're doing that, can you talk and type and research at the same time? Do you think a person or any organization should be able to say whatever it would want to say about any group? If it's anti-Christian or anti-Muslim or anti-Jewish or anti-Hindu, is all that acceptable? Is anything acceptable?
They do know.
I don't know if they do now.
They do know.
There are all kinds of. Is it okay? You have to figure out what is meant by the freedom of speech.
They say everything that's free is not truly free. You know that, right?
And speaking of critical thinking, you can argue both sides of this. But the speech that one person has or a group has, some people have more say than others do because they have more people listening. Just as this magazine now has more people listening and reading and watching than it ever did.
Okay, let's try to listen to this, if you don't mind. This is a Charlie Hebdo Muhammad cartoon with English translation. Let's try to see if we can get it.
What's an audio?
Hold on.